Hello, I am Natalie Bright, and I am here with Julie Steele, who is a candidate for the Olathe School Board. And Julie, just thank you so much for being here and being a part of this candidate interview. We want to give our members an opportunity to and hear from you. And so we really do appreciate your willingness to serve our Olathe community and to be a part of this forum. So let's get started. Julie, will you tell me a little bit about yourself and why you're seeking this office?
Sure, you bet. Thank you, Natalie, for the opportunity, and thank you to the chambers and to the Olathe Chamber for this. I greatly appreciate the opportunity. So my name is Julie Steele, and I'm running for Olathe School Board, the District 3 seat, and we do have a primary August 3rd. And the reason I'm running is, I love this city. Olathe has been a home, my home, since my parents moved our family here back in 1979. And I remember summers biking these streets and finding neighborhood kids to play with till dark. And, Friday nights we'd walk up the Nelson Road Hill to cheer on the Olathe North Eagles football team. And later I would be a cheerleader on that track. So it's just, this city means a lot to me. And I have so many great memories and, chose to move my family into the Olathe School District to raise our children here. The American dream that I grew up with, it's a part of who I am today. And during those years, my parents also showed me from an early age that those experiences are built because people gave to their community. And so my dad served more than 2 decades on the city council, and that also means my mom served too. And now that 3 of my 4 children are grown, it's time for me to get back to the community that's always given me so much.
Well, thank you. So why don't you tell me a little bit as a school board candidate, what are your top 3 policy issues?
Sure. First and foremost, we have this really great Portrait of a Graduate strategic plan, and we did this in 2019 as a community. We had educators and students and community leaders and civic leaders all coming together to describe what that kindergarten class of 2019 needs to look like in 2032 when they graduate. And we came up with a great plan that has lots of detail, and then COVID hit, and we got a little derailed on starting this plan. So my first priority will be to make sure that we're getting back to this great plan that all of us as a community have invested in for our students. I also think we have an opportunity to improve communication within the school district and from the school district to the community and school district to families. I think we've got an opportunity there that we can be better and improve. And third, I would say safety. There's that Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and the base of that is safety and security. And if our kids don't have that, nothing else is going to happen, including learning. And so I do believe that, safety from a social, emotional, and mental health perspective is very important, that we always keep that in mind as a school district.
Great. Well, I'm going to ask the question that's often on many who are on the school board's mind, and that is about the Kansas Supreme Court's ruling on the current K12 funding formula, that it is both equitable and adequate. But the court has retained the jurisdiction of the case just to make sure that the funding is maintained. What are your thoughts on the formula and the additional funding that's been added?
Sure. I'm optimistic that we're headed in the right direction with adequately funding our schools here in Kansas. The Supreme Court has retained jurisdiction, wisely so, in that matter, because, we do have an issue here in Kansas with legislators working to underfund and, quite honestly, sometimes undermine our public schools. And we need to be ever aware of that and be involved and be constituents who understand what's happening in Topeka and how that trickles down to our local district. The Constitution for Kansas is clear about the state providing adequate and equitable public education. And we know that we, in our own homes, in our businesses, as well as in our school district, we afford what we prioritize. And so our community members realize that strong public schools are connected to strong local economies, and we need to just be ever aware. We've got additional funding through COVID help, of $830 million to the state of Kansas, and we are going to be, recipients of that. And I think that will also help as far as a funding concern we have with gaps in learning that have occurred during COVID. And so I'm super excited about that money trickling down to our district in unique ways to help our students with how the last 16 months has affected their education.
Great. So one thing that I know the Olathe Chamber has been watching is really the need for a workforce. And we are experiencing low unemployment rates right now, and employers are really looking to find qualified workers. How do you see the school district helping the business community meet the future workforce needs, work-based learning such as internships, training, and other those career exploration opportunities?
Yeah, you bet. I'll tell you, as a business owner, we are experiencing it too. We have 7 locations across the metro, and our furthest one away is in Manhattan, Kansas. And even there, we are experiencing the same thing. So I can relate. It isn't just specific to the school district. And that's where I think we have a unique opportunity to all band together as a community and make sure we're helping one another with unique recruitment efforts. We do a great job fostering a climate in our district of involvement and interaction. We have great respect with the city council and the school leaders, as well as business partners in the community. I would want to make sure we're asking the right questions. Are we producing what our community needs? We have career and technical programs, as well as our 21st Century Academies, which are amazing. We've got great partnerships with local business leaders, with Olathe Health, with regard to those programs. And are we meeting those needs? Do we need to introspectively look and say, gosh, this isn't working so well. How can we change it? And are we spitting out, quite frankly, what we need as far as workforce needs are today? We're preparing students to enter specialized fields, whether they're going to go on to college or straight into the career force. And I think that's a great change that's happened in the last 10 to 20 years in Olathe School District. We're recognizing that not everyone is college bound, and what a great service we're doing in preparing students for their future. So I think prioritizing a healthy relationship with chambers, as well as, our district leaders who are running those programs, is important to that effort.
Okay, great. So let's talk a little bit about COVID and what you think the takeaway for the district should be, if any, based on the pandemic experience.
Sure. Don't we all have some takeaways from COVID? We probably learned quite a bit about each other that maybe we didn't necessarily want to learn. So I think now's the time for us to really dig deep and figure out what are we supposed to do with that? What are we called to do with all this yuck and all the good things that happened during COVID? How do we take that in and do something positive with it? So it's been a challenging time for society as a whole, and our public schools were given an impossible task. And maybe what we've learned back in March of 20 was, were we ready to pivot? Did we even know what pivoting in the public ed system needed to be? And I would say now we do. We have got a great opportunity with the virtual school that's being offered in Olathe. And that came from looking to ourselves to say, how can we be better? An honest reflection on the past 16 months is necessary, and it is looking like we might not be out of the woods. And I'm hoping that we can use some of those lessons learned to help us as we start this new school year.
Okay, one last question.
Okay.
What do you see as the greatest challenge facing the district going forward?
Well, spinning off of the last question, our community is experiencing divide. I'm going to put some of that on the back of COVID, and I'm going to also put some of that on the back of us. We can be better in how we communicate, not us as the district, but yes, there too. I think just neighbor to neighbor, we can be better communicating. I think part of that is, beginning each conversation, not assuming that there's ill intent, beginning each conversation openly and being an active listener, learning about someone else's point of view, and taking that in, and not having that be something that we're going to be used in a judgmental sort of way. We all have something to learn. And I think that's an important piece. So communication, working on the divide in our community. And as far as the school district goes, I think it all comes down to building, rebuilding a trust relationship with our students and our families, as well as our educators. It's not a zero-sum game. I think we can have a great four-way, open, honest conversations about tough stuff that's going to bring our community together and kind of get rid of this divide that I think we all feel is heavy in many entities.
Julie, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today and to answer some of these questions. On behalf of the Olathe Chamber members, thank you and good luck in your campaign.
Thanks, Natalie. And again, thank you to the Chamber and thank you for this opportunity. And August 3rd is a big day, so everybody get out and vote. Thank you.
Thanks so much.